I just shared my writing framework on Twitter, and I wanted to just walk through this and walk through the thinking behind it so that it can help you improve your own writing and argumentation in your blog posts. I will say that I am not the expert in Grow and Convert on the writing side. That is definitely Davish. This is my own process that I use when writing blog posts for our website, whether it's a how-to article, an opinion piece, a case study. This is kind of what I'm thinking through as I'm writing things, and it'll probably make more sense once I share it as an example here. But yeah, let's dive into it. So first, I'm just going to kind of walk through these questions, and then I'll walk through how they're actually applied in this blog post that I wrote on Pain Point SEO. Let's dive in. So what is the most commonly held belief or belief system on this topic? I think this is one of the main reasons we focus so much on customer research before we write anything or produce any blog post for our clients, because in order to write something well, you really have to understand what most people already know about the subject, either to agree with them, this right to, or to disagree with them. And then we like to get into, well, what's the solution to this problem, or a better process to share? So again, this would be, what is the most commonly held belief? What is wrong? What is one thing that's wrong with that belief system, or a better process to approach it? How can I back up this argument with evidence? What are the objections that people are going to have? How can I overcome those objections? And then what action do I want them to take, or what do I want them to take away from this? So let's go through these questions one by one with this blog post that I wrote called Pain Point SEO. So to start off, this is written for a very specific audience. So this is for anyone who has done content marketing for a company before. And I will say that the most commonly held belief system or belief around producing content for SEO is that many people have this belief that if I produce content that goes after, if I produce content and it gets a ton of traffic, basically my conversions will increase. So the thinking is, the commonly held belief is, as I grow traffic more and more, so if I grow traffic from 20,000 to 100,000, that the conversions on the blog are going to increase at the same rate or at a high rate. And what we're saying is that's not true. The reason being that the way that most people measure conversions from content, and this is from personal experience and talking to other people. So again, another reason why it's really important to understand your audience well, because you're not going to be able to do these two things well if you don't understand who you're writing for. But the reason behind this is because most people don't measure conversions from content in-house. A lot of people argue to their CEO or people inside of the company that basically as traffic increases, conversions will increase as well. And the reason is because they're not measuring it. And so they're not measuring on a blog post by blog post basis the conversion rate. They're kind of just looking at their blog anecdotally and saying, oh, traffic is up, conversions are up, things must be great. And what we're saying here is basically, if you were to actually track conversions on a blog post by blog post basis, that just because traffic increases doesn't mean conversions also increase as well. So that is the main argument behind this blog post, is saying that the conversion rate is actually dictated by the topic of the blog post, or essentially, does the keyword have buying intent versus does it not have buying intent? And we're saying the process that we're sharing here is Pain Point SEO. And so what is Pain Point SEO? It's a term that we coined just describing that you should prioritize content ideas by buying intent over volume. So again, it flips the script in the way that most people approach it. Many SEOs, content marketers, freelance writers just kind of look at a keyword that's on a subject and assume that the one with the highest volume is going to be the one that converts at the highest percentage, or it's going to yield the most conversions for the company. Again, we're saying that that's not true. So we're sharing our own process here about prioritizing keyword buying intent over volume. So again, typical way, grow and convert way, our own process here. Now, the 3 questions here, how can I back this up with evidence? What are the objections that they're going to have? How can I overcome those? All of this is done actually with this one screenshot here in the case study section. So we write a whole case study here that going after long tail, high intent keywords beats out high volume. And those 3 questions are literally answered in this one screenshot from Google Analytics, basically proving our case here. Beyond this, we have written many other posts that back this up with more evidence than just this one screenshot. But I'm going to kind of walk through how this screenshot does all of these things. So it backs up the argument of this blog post with evidence saying that intent is the most important thing, not volume. What are the objections that they're going to have? So they're going to object to everything, but it can't really be objected to if you just show the data. So basically, these highlighted ones in pink are the ones that are these pain point SEO posts versus the ones that are not highlighted are non-pain point SEO posts. So they're just going after a keyword with volume. And so again, you can see that the conversion rate for these 3 blog posts are much higher than all of these other ones. So that kind of backs up this whole argument that buying intent is the most important. And then we also share that you should prioritize intent over volume. Now, this is the blog post here that makes this argument. So a blog post from January 1st to August 29th, while it only had 1,000 users to this page, it yielded 51 product signups versus the highest volume in terms of traffic only yielded 41 in the same time period. Again, further making the case that the buying intent around the keyword is more important than pure volume. Same thing here. And so again, I just wanted to share this because I find that often people do either they don't do this whole argumentation well, or they do one part of it. So they might argue their thesis or their argument and they don't back it up with evidence, or they don't really have a strong argument to begin with. And so I think both of these are really important if you're going to write a blog post. And then what do we want them to take away? So basically, we just want to say that you should prioritize intent first and volume secondary, instead of the way that most people approach it, volume first and sometimes taking into consideration the intent of the keyword. And that is essentially the entire argument of the post. I think this is really important to follow this framework because I often find when people read these posts, this post specifically, they say, oh, the idea behind here isn't revolutionary. And to be honest, that's true. The reason this post is effective is all in the way that it's presented, in my opinion. And so it's presented, you share the way that most people approach this, and then you say that that is wrong. And then you share a better process to attack this problem. And then you explain the process and the thinking behind it. You share the evidence that backs this up with the data. There aren't any objections here because the data speaks for itself. And then you just share the core thesis that you want them to take away from this. So again, I just wanted to share this writing framework and how it's applied. You can kind of read this whole blog post on our website, Pain Point SEO, and kind of walk through these questions yourself to kind of think through how I was thinking of this as I was writing this blog post, and you can kind of check these off to make sure that they're all hit. But I would use this framework as you're thinking through your own blog post writing. And if you can't answer these questions, it's probably not a good blog post for you to write. So hope this helps you.